I want to talk very briefly about some of the pitfalls of electrical soldering. Now, don't get me wrong, I don't want to discourage you from taking on a soldering project because it's a lot of fun once you get a few accidents under your belt. So, the idea is you want to maybe order an extra chip or two just to sort of get a feel for how to do it, especially if you've never done it before. So, what happened here was that I planned on needing 3 pressure sensors and I only ended up needing 1. So, I was able to use 1 to practice on, and as you can see, it was a very lucky fact that I needed only 1. This point here kind of looks like the elephant's foot from Chernobyl. I would strongly encourage you to Google that. It's a very interesting subject. I might do a video on that. These 3 points actually look pretty okay, but that was completely by accident. There was a point where they were all fused together because, again, I had such a lousy soldering iron that I had to actually place the broad side of the point and try and hit only 1 at a time, and there was an accident and I got all 3 at once, and then I went through and just heated it up again, and they managed to separate, and all the extra solder sort of congealed around this point. And when I kept trying to heat it up to get this stuff off, it wouldn't go. Eventually I just gave up and realized, hey, I'm quite lucky for not needing this pressure sensor. This one, I think, very similar to this one. This is where some of the stuff went when I tried to get it all off, and I couldn't get it off this point. So lesson 1 is that you're not going to ever get extra stuff off. You're not ever going to get an extra amount of solder off whatever you're soldering. You're just not. Lesson 2, buy a good soldering iron. One that you can just touch the tip to 1 point and 1 point only, and solder that point and that point only. Now, in case you didn't notice before, let me just pull this up again. You can actually see in there the connectors actually going through the board. That shouldn't happen. You shouldn't be able to see inside the actual board. What happened was that I got this thing so hot that it started, I can only guess, it started melting the actual board a little bit. Just enough to make it go from kind of a, well, like a normal board looks like, to clear. This was my first soldering attempt, and as you can see, it really didn't end very well for me. But like I said, don't let that discourage you. Just be smart and practice. Practice lots. Let me see if I can. Yeah, see, that's a little closer to what it should look like inside. It should just look like a sort of, I want to say completely opaque. I think that's the right word. You can't see in it at all. There's no light coming through it. And obviously that's not what happened at that end, because it went from can't see through it to can see into it a little bit. And you can also see here there's, let me see if I can't catch it on the glimmer. There's like a filmy, plasticky residue that just completely melted over. I wouldn't be surprised if this chip were, or this board were completely useless. And in fact, I don't even want to try to see if it works, because I could really screw up the operating system of whatever I hook it up to. But anyway, let this be a cautionary tale. Always practice. Even when you think you've got a good idea of what you need to do, always, always practice.